probably my second year taking over from my father. I was still speaking the way I would speak coming out of an MBA program. My staff didn't have a clue what the I was saying. I had hired my best friend to be my general manager. And after a staff meeting once, he pulls me aside and he goes, nobody understood a single word you said. I'm like, what are you talking about? I was very succinct and clear. He goes, nope, you spoke a foreign language.
Right.
And that was a very eye-opening time for me. I was like, oh, shit.
Yeah.
That's so true.
The Cost of Goods Told podcast is made possible by the following sponsors. 0 Point Organics grows and supplies microgreens for over 30 major restaurants in the Houston area. Consistently perfect quality in flavor and appearance, their microgreens will be the best you or your customers have ever had every single time. Go to pointorganics.com. Duke's Premium Meats Home Delivery is committed to providing you with the best quality meat delivered right to your door, offering certified Angus beef, grass-fed beef, Wagyu, and many more premium options. Nobody beats Duke's Meats. Make sure to check out all that Duke has to offer at dukespremiummeats.com. Criswell Culinary aims to create a new standard of unique, affordable hot sauces that satisfies the more developed cravings of today. Bernie Brand Texas-style hot sauce is a boldly layered sauce with density and personality to proudly represent Texas. Go to BernieBrand.com to find a retailer near you. That's Bernie, BOERNE, brand.com.
I mean, it's tough to find people who care as much as you do. I mean, that's a fruitless
impossible.
search. That's finding the unicorn, right?
That's right.
Because it doesn't happen. But you can find people who care. And that means more to me than any education that they have.
Yeah.
I can teach you to do whatever we need to do.
So you know, I have no script. Connor takes great notes. He prepares, and I'm an old sales guy. So I have conversations and I listen. And what I just heard you say is work for you. How difficult is it? I'm going to jump right into the question without doing an intro.
Okay. Yeah.
How difficult is it? What challenges do you have or successes in maintaining and a retention for labor in a small town like Taylor?
It's the same challenges that I've talked to everybody I've talked to around the world. I don't care where we are. If we're domestic, if we're in the Northeast Coast, we're on the West Coast, we're Heartland, we're Europe, we're Asia, we're Australia. They all seem to have the same problem.
Yeah.
This seems to be a generational thing, not a regional thing, not a demographic thing.
Really?
Not a demographic in the terms of any sort of race, religion, sex. That doesn't apply.
Right.
What it seems to apply is age and how people are raised and where they're raised. What they're exposed to in terms of responsibility long term, how much challenge they've had to face in their youth, all seems to roll into how well they're going to do in performing with us. Because our task is not easy. If you come in just looking to become famous, because this is something you've seen on TV, you're going to be dead. And you're DOA in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
If you come in thinking, this is what my career, life journey is about, you're dead in 2 weeks.
Yeah. Physically and emotionally, right?
I mean, that's the same way it was when I was in sports, right? If a jock sniff came in, they wanted, because their expectations were to hang around the players all the time, their workload, their responsibilities never were covered.
Right.
Ever. They didn't last long. People are overly exuberant about coming to work, about doing red flags all over the place.
Yeah.
If they're not somewhat apprehensive about the challenges that are involved, including time, effort, physical demands, if those aren't things that they express to me, then I'm concerned that they're not concerned about those sort of things.
Yeah.
Then it tells me they don't really know.
Well, there's got to be also a huge generational gap coming from where you came from, right? Your dad's like, hey, you're 8, you're going to work, right? And these kids show up at 19 having watched Chef and Chopped and Guy Fieri going, man, I can get on TV and I can be superstar. How about I start over here?
Right? That's the whole part of it is now we're so much about instant gratification, right? Because we're on our phones. I mean, the entire world is in the palm of your hand, right? Oh, I know how to do brisket. I'll YouTube it, right?
It's like changing the starter in my Ford.
Yeah.
And there's no better. I'll say better. There's no better or worse reinforcement than Amazon. Look, I love Amazon. I'm an Amazon Prime member, and I've been using Amazon for a year and a half. And I can hit a button and I get it in 2 days. I had to go stand in an academy in the line at Christmas time to finish up a couple of things that I couldn't get, quickly online. And I was miserable. Like, I'm there 45 minutes in line texting my wife, still instant gratification, saying, I'll never do this again, ever. Would you take this gift at your birthday? Because I'm thinking about just leaving it. Amazon has spoiled me, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
so you get a coupon for a hug this Christmas.
That's not just, it's people see and watch television, right? They see this famous chef or they look at Wayne. Okay, they go, oh, he's a superstar and he's got this lineage and all.
He inherited it and he's a star already, right?
They don't know the work that he put in.
Of course.
Scrubbing the walls at age, how old were you when that corner of that wall? Eight. If you go into a restaurant, you look at the wall, there's one corner of the wall that's lighter color than the rest of it. He did that when he was age 8, right?
Yep.
So that is what people lack nowadays. People that want to come in here, they want to learn, right? But they're not willing to put the time.
Sure.
They look at me and they go, oh, wow, you make it look easier. How come you can trim a brisket in less than 2 minutes? Especially the way I trim a brisket.
Right.
Or how can you make it this? Or how can you cook this dish?
Yep.
Because I've been doing it for decades, every day. So it may look easy, but it's taken decades to get where I am.
So can you elaborate, Ara, coming from, I'm not separating the chef world from the barbecue world, but from kind of your background.
You should.
Well,
they're different. They're so
different.
It's as night and day different as two different sports, as football and basketball. They're both professional sports. They work off the same general premises, but they are different entities in and of themselves. I mean, what Ara does, I couldn't even imagine doing. No, that's absolutely the truth. And I don't ever claim to be a chef. Ever. That's not what I am. I'm just not what I am.
Chef Wayne. Chef
Wayne. Yeah. That doesn't go over well with me, man. It's like, you got to lose the chef thing because I can't live up to those expectations, and I don't want to. He can. Absolutely. And he's proven that over decades of time. So, I mean, to make that jump, it's difficult for people in the chef world, in the fine dining world, to make the leap.
Yes.
They don't succeed generally.
Right.
That's a low succession rate. I mean, it's not as low as people entering the market for the first time. Not 95% of them are failing, but an extremely large number are.
Right.
Yeah.
They just can't get over the whole length of the process.
Sure.
They want to change everything. They want to put their stamp on everything. They can't rely on the simplicity of the formulation, of the process, of the equipment to let that happen. And you work the nuances that make it's like learning how to sail. Experienced sailors know all the nuance of trimming. Right? They can beat an inexperienced sailor every time, even though fundamentally they know the same shit. It is that way.
Yeah, it is very different. You have to change. I mean, for me, it's easy because, again, I have this love for food, any kind of food. But barbecue came naturally to me, and it wasn't like I didn't go work for Wayne or anybody else to learn barbecue.
Right.
It's because I know the science behind cooking. But I didn't try to make barbecue into what I am. Right? I didn't try to change it into, I can do it better. There's no way to cook a brisket faster. It just takes time if you want the meat to be tender. And if you want it to have the right flavor, you want it to be juicy, it takes time.
Right.
I mean, I give the example. How many times do people ask you, well, how long does it take you to smoke a brisket? Until it's done.
Until it's done. They hate the answer, but it's like, I can't, what do you want me to tell you?
Right.
Yeah. How long did it take you to raise your child?
Yeah.
They're 25, they're still at home. How long does it take you to raise your child?
Right.
And that's what chefs have a difficult time with, because chefs are used to a recipe, a technique of whether it's braising or whether it's even sous vide. Like my biggest gripe with chefs of today is they lack the fundamentals. They lack how they don't. I mean, ask them what the 5 mother sauces are. If they can name it, how many times have they made it?
Right.
They haven't made it day in and day out. I started apprenticing in the kitchen. I didn't go to culinary school at age 12. I mean, for days and weeks and months, all I did was peel carrots and potatoes and wash dishes, turning artichokes cases at a time. To this day, it's a very zen thing to do. One of my favorite things to this day, I know it sounds masochistic to a certain level, is sit down and do cases of artichoke, turning artichoke hearts. You know, you've done it. You know how it's
a bitch.
It is a bitch, but you get into this rhythm. It's the same thing with trimming brisket. You know, I take it as that's where I bring my fine dining background into it. That I'll use a very specific type of knife to trim my brisket. Most barbecue guys who trim briskets, they have this tennis elbow, right? They get this pain in their elbow. I know quite a few friends who have
tennis elbows.
Tennis elbow. Yeah. I don't have it. It's because of the techniques of butchering whole animals, being in the fine dining. But barbecue is a complete and the camaraderie. I mean, the fact that I'm sitting down here with Wayne and how he, you know, I mean, when I first started, I was a nobody, and he took the time, being who he is, talking to somebody who's a nobody in the barbecue industry, who, especially coming from the chef side, who were, let's put it this way, we don't have the best reputations as chefs. You know, they're ordinary, they're egocentric, introverts, and most of the time, pricks. You know, so the barbecue community has been so welcoming of me as a chef coming into it that you would not get that from a barbecue guy going into fine dining. It's just impossible.
Right.
Yeah.
But the curse of having a barbecue menu. So like if you're building up a restaurant and you are working with a team and one of the guys is just absolutely killing it on the risotto station.
Yeah.
Wonderful. It's great. You're getting known for it. You know, people are coming in ordering the shit out of it. All of a sudden that guy leaves. You adjust your menu. You say, you know what? We're not doing risotto right now. Hey, servers, push the fish, push the beef station, something like that.
You can't do that in barbecue.
You can't. And so it's like you not only came back to barbecue, but you came back to a lineage where it's like you not only have to do barbecue, and as the prices of, you know, brisket go up and as all these things, you have to stay with that, but you also have to maintain that. And then you have guys who come underneath you who have to work these pits and do things, or a group of people that have to represent you just as much on a day-to-day basis, on a night-to-night basis, where it's got to match every single time. If my risotto guy is different, I'll just throw in a different spice into it. We're going to do a wild mushroom risotto. Oh, we're going to do a scallop risotto, something like that, so that I can throw a curveball to my guests so that if it isn't the same, I'm okay.
Right.
But that's not true to barbecue, and that is one of the things that I look at, you know, as we start to look at the second generation of Pitmasters. You know, you guys have earned your chops. You guys are here, and you're going, you know, what's happening? You know, and we talked about Brett kind of off mic and so forth, but he's gone and done his thing. You've got to substitute that. A guy who comes in and works hard and does it the right way and things. And it's in my discovery of barbecue and how you guys do everything over the past year, it's been one of those where it's like, holy shit, I always took it for granted that I could change up my menu. I could even change up the name of my restaurant if I wanted to reflect my staff or whatever troubles I was having to substitute that. But you guys come in every day and it's like you can't not do brisket, even if your guy sucks at brisket, or doesn't show up. You know,
well, you know what happens is here's the difference between the barbecue world and the regular world with chefs. We train our staff to do things based on what we do in-house. Him with his lineage that he learned, and me with what I've created here. We've trained them. So, like, I recently lost a person who I trained for the last year and a half. I have somebody else I'm training right now. He does the same thing with his staff. He trains them. But guess what? When we lose somebody, you know who does the smoking and the cleaning and all of that?
The people who care the most. That's right.
Yeah. At the end of the day, no one's going to care or do as good of a job as you are. No one will.
I don't disagree.
Yeah.
But a team of people can match what you do.
Yeah.
Okay. As a matter of fact, a team of people can exceed what you do.
Yeah. But it takes a team.
Easily exceed. But yes, it's a team. It's never going to be an individual unless somebody just comes in who's just a savant, right? I mean, who just has all of these skills necessary and has no other drive in life other than to absolutely be the best at this.
Right.
And they can. But where are you going to find them?
Right.
You can't hold out hope that you're going to find them ever. So you resign yourself to a team environment. That's what has to happen. And train the team well, get them all to care, or have them all caring before they come in. Train them well, and you can produce amazing things. Because whether it's a corporate environment or a kitchen environment, you're always best served if you surround yourself with people who are more talented than you.
Always.
I don't care. I don't care what the situation is. Yeah, there'll be competition. Sometimes that's good competition.
Yeah.
I don't have that ego. You're better than me. Good. Then I trained you well. You had the skill set necessary and everything necessary to do well. And now you're doing it every day. You better be better than me. I want you to be better than me. I honestly do. Then I can do what only I can do in this business. And that's grow it.
Yeah.
If you can do this, I'm golden. We're golden. You're golden.
Yeah.
Our guests, most of all, are golden because they don't see a difference.
Speaking of golden, speaking of growing the business, I noticed that you guys and a few other well-known pitmasters, right, with thriving businesses, are also doing online ordering or shipping, right? There's a company you're using, Gold Belly.
Yeah.
So was the employment of Gold Belly or the addition of that into your day-to-day business, was that to add stability to your day in and day out business? Is it a good move? Is it a bad move? Would you do it again? I mean, it's obviously something your father would have never thought of, or your grandfather.
Well, actually, they did do it for a while, but they had to have a USDA inspector, and they didn't have a USDA inspector, so they just stopped doing it.
Okay.
But they had considered doing that. That was something, even then, back in the 90s, mid-90s, they were thinking about. This is, commercial internet is just coming online. You can thank Al Gore for that. That was a joke.
And the climate, and the climate too.
But in all honesty, what I see in today's environment, what I see from the generation, my daughter's generation, is they'll pay $5 for a stick of gum if somebody will to favor if they'll go down to the CVS 2 blocks away to pick it up for them and bring it to them.
You're right.
They will to have everything delivered, have everything on demand, whether it's Amazon or food, it doesn't really matter. They're much more open to that sort of thing. Not only are they open to that, but they don't want to do the labor. So things like Blue Apron are struggling because you still have to put the meal together.
Yeah.
It's all pre-portioned.
Yeah.
It all comes to you bought. You don't have to go to the grocery store. All that's there. It still only takes 30 minutes. People don't want to go through that effort. It's the craziest stuff, but I swear to God, they don't want to do it. But if you send them a full meal ready to go, they'll pay premium price for it. So that they don't have to do it.
Wow.
So for us, it started out as whole cuts. Yes, there's some stability. We can cook more. If anything that, if we have whole cuts left over, then we can cool them down quickly, freeze them, and use them as part of our shipping inventory. That truly helps us stay open later.
Yep.
But I think ultimately it's how the business is going to develop. Just like the business developed from walk-up traffic in an alleyway, servicing railroad engineers and farmers, and people coming out of the grocery store, we have to find a new way to get to people. Because what you can see clearly is that in-house dining is decreasing. And mid-range, especially table service, is dying. So the Applebee's and the Chili's of the world are really, really struggling. And there's shrinking labor costs everywhere they can. Quick service is doing the same thing. McDonald's is automating cooking now as well as ordering.
Right.
Well, I didn't know cooking.
So now what you ultimately have in the restaurant industry is you're going to have skeleton staff servicing stuff out. People aren't willing to go. So if you're not willing to go to them, there's a part of the market that you're willing to lose. And quite honestly, we can't afford to lose it.
Right.
So if the future really means going to someone's house all the time or making sure that it gets to someone's house, then that's what we're going to do. And so right now we're looking at all ways to make that happen, because one of those ways I think is going to be a viable future. It's just which one.
And, based on what I read, what I saw, you're shipping internationally, correct?
Well, we're shipping international as long as FedEx gets their well, they were doing some experimental stuff this fall with Canada. And I don't know how the new trade deal works into this. I'm sure it has some effect. But FedEx was working with packaged goods, packaged foods, crossing the border so that Canadians could order it. And if that works out, that's a whole nother market. And believe it or not, we have a decent Canadian clientele. I would never have guessed any of this had I not put up a map. A U.S. 50-state map, or really a North American map and a world map to see where people are coming from.
Yeah.
It's only then that you start paying attention when people say that they came from someplace that you realize it reinforces, oh, yeah, I talked to that person. I see them up here. It's just, it blows your mind, really. But you realize that at the end of the day, maybe not in my lifetime, but certainly in the next generation's lifetime, there's no regional markets anymore. Everything's a world market.
Mm-hmm. And do you use local delivery too?
No, we don't use anything like DoorDash.
Okay.
And the reason I have found, they decided they were going to include us in Taylor because they were trying to build business. And
I've heard those tactics.
And we got a couple of orders that didn't come out right, and people call and complain. It's like, we're not a part of DoorDash. What are you talking about?
Right.
You know? And they're like, well, we ordered it. And I look online. Sure enough, I'm like, no.
Yeah, that's
not going to work.
Stole your menu and posted
Yeah,
it up.
that's not going to work. So, we're delivering for anybody within, say, the greater Austin area. If you have an order of $200 or more, we'll take it. Plus delivery, $1 a mile one way, or 50 cents a mile round trip.
Right.
If you want to do that, yeah, I'll do it. And so we're doing a lot more of that.
Wow.
Believe it or not, I just did it because there was a couple of clients we had that I didn't want to just cut off, saying no, we're not going to deliver anymore. And now it's just,
they're like, okay,
it's growing. People are like, yeah, we'll do that.
Wow.
I'm like, are you kidding me?
Has it subsidized a generous portion of maybe like the catering? Because catering can be super labor intensive.
Yeah, we substituted one for one. And right now, we're probably about 75% of what our catering was at its peak. And at a fraction of the labor cost and time invested.
Right.
That to me is golden. If I don't have to that many more staff that I'm scheduling and working with, and that many more caterings that I'm doing, because at a minimum, I'm putting 5 hours into a catering.
Right.
Minimum.
Yeah.
That's
Right.
minimum.
And that's just loading. That's just loading up, driving, load in, serve, load out, come back, clean up, put away. That's not even including
Cook time,
cooking.
nothing. Yeah.
Right.
It just became, now if we do caterings, it's just a drop off. And if they really want more service, there's a ton of event companies in Austin who rent out equipment, people, servers, bartenders, valet. They do it all, and they have every kind of equipment imaginable, and they just do like us and charge per person. So we
partner with them.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Well, I think it's awesome too because I've seen Ara trim a brisket, and he's like, "This is going to become beef jerky. This is going to become this. This is going to be that." And it's taking all of that stuff that it's like you're already doing the labor, but turning it into dollars and cents outside of your four walls.
Because Ara's smart.
Yeah, right.
Absolutely.
Dude, you know how many people in our industry just take the trim and throw it away? I'm sure you've talked to a few.
Right.
Maybe more than a few.
We probably know a handful.
But see, there's no knock on them. They have to learn the hard way sometimes that you can't waste anything. Right. Ara clearly knows. Ara comes from the school of waste not, want not. We're going to use everything. This is the way restaurants remain profitable. Mm-hmm. And I think for us, the way we got started was this is how a business such as a grocery with a meat market stays profitable. We cook some of this stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
Some of it dry. We make jerky. Some we make sausage, and we do a number of things with. But ultimately, we don't. None of this goes to waste.
Right.
All right. So you're 5 years in, and your location, which is out here in Richmond, Texas, right? You're surrounded by suburbs. I mean, there's neighborhood after neighborhood after neighborhood. Unlike a small town like Taylor, right? Not that they're not surrounded too, but do you guys use a delivery service, or I know you do catering, but do you?
I started with Uber, and I'm really the amount of headache that I have from it compared to what revenue it brings in.
Yeah.
It's really not worth it. It's not, because number one, the percentage that they charge.
Yeah.
Number two, the callbacks and the issues. And with barbecue, it's not like a regular restaurant. When you run out of something, you're out. And then you have to 86 it. No longer available on Uber. And if you don't your staff doesn't pay attention in time, order pops on.
Right.
You're SOL. Now you got to try and get a hold of the person. Now you just upset a guest who normally would. It does have a convenience. I've been trying it out for the last few months to see how it works out. I've left it on so far, but the revenue that it brings in, it's really not worth it.
So
for us, it's not.
It's nominal at this point. You're like,
I don't know why I'm worried with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I looked at it very similar to Groupon.
Yeah.
You know, because one way or another, you're discounting your food about the same amount, and you're driving traffic one way, or you're driving sales, I should say, one way or another. But it seemed to be that the sales we were driving were people who only participated when those discounts were available.
Gotcha.
And so it didn't really make sense for us to do that, because if they're not going to be repeat at full retail, then it doesn't really do us any good, because now we're just marketing to people who are zero margin individuals.
Right.
How does that help us? Especially if they're not out preaching for us.
Right.
It's so important for people to come in and have that experience so that we can sort of create disciples.
And not to
Ara knows that.
Not to defend those people, right? They're paying for a service. But what they don't understand is, and so this is what Ara said, you're well into double digits with Uber Eats or DoorDash or whoever it is.
Yeah,
so
totally.
Even if you're not discounting the food, you're discounting because you're having to give a portion of those sales away.
It actually costs us money.
It's 30%, isn't it? Close
Right,
to 30?
because our margins are
Right.
tight. I mean,
If you're a good operator, you're in general restaurant business, you're running a 20% profit margin, right? The average restaurant runs 10 to 13.
Right.
Average successful restaurant, right? Now you're giving away 30% to this delivery service. It's costing you 20% out of pocket for every order that goes out.
Of course.
Yeah.
And I don't know how they sell it. I know a couple guys who've worked for those companies, right? And they've presented different models. But my point still goes back to the independent business owner, not the buyer, who could care less what you're paying. He's just like, hey, I just want my brisket. And you're like, yeah, but I just gave 30% away, and I made 1%, and you're not coming back. Right? So forget it. I'm out.
And they're going to complain about rent.
Yeah.
Again.
Is it not?
Yeah, of course.
I swear to God, it is, because the profit margin doesn't go to you; it goes to the landlord.
Totally.
Yeah.
And the moment you're profitable and the moment you're successful, your rent goes up.
Right.
So you're chasing the mechanical rabbit forever. You never get ahead.
Yeah, you'll run out of breath.
You're always working for somebody else, no matter technically you're working for yourself.
Sure.